I'm so sorry. Hi. So yeah, I cut my hair. It's very Bob-esque. It's a little Joan of Arc haircut that I usually get once every 2 years. I just didn't expect it to show up how it did. Um, so hi, welcome to my channel. It is officially spooky time. I'm wearing my spooky pajamas from Spooky Walmart. Um, I have a very spooky Hello Kitty covering Crispy. Come on, dude. Let's go. I have a very spooky Hello Kitty pimple patch covering my very spooky, scary pimples. Um, yeah, so you're probably like, well, where the fuck have you been, bitch? Um, yeah, we went on a vacation to San Antonio, and I'm gonna tell you all of the nitty gritty stuff of San Antonio, Texas. So we stayed at a very nice. I'm sorry. I'm so exhausted. I slept 11 hours today. I slept 11 hours today and I'm still so fucking exhausted. Um, sorry. Hi, baby. Crispy missed us. Okay, so we go there. We were at I booked a stay in these like Hilton suites. Everything was very expensive. Everything was like $100 a night, unless it was the Red Roof Inn. And you don't want to stay at the Red Roof Inn because, like, I've stayed there before when I was a kid, and it was mostly like totally like crackhead central. I wasn't even thinking Airbnb. I'm still stuck in my nomadic ways. As a child, I traveled all over the country all the time, so it was no big deal. Like, but now I have kids, so I don't want them to live how I lived. So I was like, we're gonna spend extra money and you know get the nice place for them to stay at. You know what I mean? Um, so that's what we did, and it was two queens and a pull-out bed, and it was really nice. It had a whole kitchen, refrigerator, a full-size fridge, stuff like that. Um, but I couldn't sleep for shit. It was so nice, but I couldn't sleep for shit. There was like I had these overwhelming fears and stuff. So the drive up to the hill country wasn't that bad. We watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and something else. I forgot what it was. That was okay. It was fine. But we went to the hotel late at night and we were so tired, but the hotel was so nice. We were excited. It was in a decent area and I didn't feel so scared. Like, we're in a city, there's tons of threats everywhere, at every corner. So we go to bed, and I keep having these overwhelming thoughts of like death and like reoccurring loneliness, scared, fear, la 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 la. Like, I felt very weird, and I kept seeing like this weird, like, um, kind of mask face. Whenever I would shut my eyes, I would see like this kind of face appearing through the like static of the eyes closed. And I was like, what the fuck is that? Sorry, my back itches. I was like, go away. Like, excuse me. Um, I had some Florida water with me, and on the second night, I put it on everybody and cleared the house, the hotel. On the second night, I put it on everyone and I cleared the house and hotel. Florida water's fantastic. You can find it at Walmart, very cheap, but metaphysical shops will sell it for $10 a bottle. Walmart sells it for around $5. Download the Walmart app, and it should tell you if you have it available at your store. And it's usually in like the ethnic hair area, where there's like also like it's just like in this, like where the Hispanic and African American hair care stuff is. On the bottom shelf, they always hide Florida water with rose water or lavender oil and stuff like that. That's where I find mine. $5 at Walmart. And of course, if you want to support your small metaphysical business, nothing wrong with that. But I don't like people ripping me off, especially people who claim to be spiritual. Like, fuck off. Yeah, don't be a dick. Like, yeah, I'm supporting your business, but don't be a fucking asshole about it, dude. What the fuck is this shit? Anyways, so it wasn't just me. Everybody was having, like, they were all very excited. Everyone was like, yeah, wow, we're here. This is so nice. It's a great hotel. Then everyone started having really, really bad dreams, nightmares, feelings of like anxiety or worse. Um, oh, my bad. On the way to the hill country, we stopped at a Popeyes chicken, and like the kids got like some snacks from somewhere. I got some Popeyes chicken. Okay, don't tell Anne Rice. This reminds me of Anne Rice's haircut. Oh my god, when she was younger. Anyways, don't tell Anne Rice that I eat Popeyes chicken, because if you know, you know. She had a huge squabble with Popeyes chicken. So I'm in there, and this light starts flickering on and off by itself. And the line is like going very slow. It's very sluggish, very Popeye's chicken, right? And this Hispanic woman, she goes up to the desk and she's like, "Hey, you know, trying to talk to them, but they're not listening." So she's standing there. Everyone's kind of standing around with their ticket. The ice machine pushes in by itself and starts going and releasing ice. She looks at it. We all look at it. She slowly looks at us and goes, and I go, I'm just getting my chicken and going. If they want to stay here, that's cool. But the fucking Popeyes chicken on the way up to the hill country was haunted. It was so weird. I was like, what the fuck? It was like a very strange, eerie beginning to the journey. And then we get to the hotel and there's all these like, it's really cool and nice. And on the outside, but on the inside, like at night, it was very not haunted, but like haunting, like remnants of just sadness and anxiety. And we looked on one of the sheets and there was like blood stains, and I was like, so just because you book, the moral story is just because you book a place at the Hilton, okay, or a Hilton, not the Hilton, but a Hilton, like a suite or whatever. It felt like the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody because it was like a full apartment kind of thing. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool, you know. Um, and so, anyways, I was like, we still got a shitty place to stay, even though we spent all. So the moral of the story is, don't stay at hotels. They fucking suck. Try an Airbnb and just be safe. Don't get trafficked. I don't know. I'm a mom. I have all these fears from growing up in the city. So that's I have like a fucking horrible OCD. So I'm like, like, anyways. So we're having nightmares. We wake up. Everyone had shit sleep, like dog shit sleep. It was horrible. We brought our pets with us, and every time somebody would walk past the door or be allowed in the hallway, they were like, and it was pet friendly, so it wasn't like we snuck them in. When I was a kid, we used to sneak pets in though all the time. When I was like hopping hotels with my mom across the country. Um, anyways, it was just horrible sleep. If it wasn't like that overwhelming, like evil kind of like Calabar fucking face coming out of the fucking, you know, Halloween Town Calabar being like, you suck, I will destroy the world. It was like this horrible like face coming out and being like, don't you fear that one day this will all be over? And I was like, can I go to sleep? I was like, these are not my normal thoughts. This is weird. This is weird. I was like, maybe it's stress. My logical mind was like, it's stress brought on by the trip and blah, 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 blah. It's late at night. You're in a new place. Blah, 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 blah. But then it was like, no, everybody felt the way. And then we found blood on the sheets. So we're like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. So the next day we wake up, shit sleep, tired as fuck. Um, a horrible coffee. But the breakfast they had in the morning was great. Okay. So we had like a full breakfast. They had like pork carnitas and like potatoes and eggs and salsas and all this stuff. Okay. So it was really nice. We're like, okay, at least breakfast is good. Then we go to Six Flags. Okay. And it was so much fun. We spent all day. We got the flash passes for the kids and us for 4 people, but we took 5 people with us because the fifth person was very old. So we don't know if they wanted to get on all the rides or not, but they got on some of them with the kids. They made memories. We took pictures. I'll have to print them out. You know what I mean? Print them out, send them here, there, everywhere, hang them up on the wall. Because I'm a mom and that's what I do. I print out pictures and, you know, whatever. It's fun. So we get there and, you know, we used to spend, especially me, Six Flags opened up in 1992, right? Conveniently, the time I was born. So I spent most of my childhood at Six Flags. with my mom and like my dad and my brother whenever we were a family, right? So it's very core memory stuff for me, just being at Six Flags. Um, Now they have revamped it. They have like gotten rid of a lot of the Looney Tune um, rides that I remember from my youth and turned it all into a DC universe. So now Six Flags Fiesta Texas has the most DC themed rides in the country, and they were all very fun. Um, Now I have a back injury and a head injury, so I was like, okay, let's pick and choose which ones we're gonna go on. You know what I mean? Um, I went on the Cyborg like 3 or 4 times with my youngest son. He is 8, and he had so much fun. We kept going on it. It's like you go forward like this, and you go backward, and it spins as well as going forward and backwards and spinning. That was fun and cool. And there's like a whole mythos behind it. They're like telling you like they have to go through like parallel universes and save you from infinite crisis. And my son went on the. There's still a couple of like Looney Tune themed things, specifically in the German-ish area by like the mess hall or whatever. Um, there's like Little Germany inside Six Flags. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, it's like very German. That's where the Looney Tunes hang out. The Looney Tunes hang out in Little Germany. I don't know what to tell you. But we saw the Flash and Wonder Woman people cosplaying, but she looked exactly like Wonder Woman, and the guy looked like the Flash. I don't know. He's a dude in a costume. You know what I mean? But we saw Yosemite Sam and Daffy Duck when we were on the carousel ride, and it was so funny because at first I didn't know, and everyone like there's a whole group of teenagers in front of us from like a bunch of schools had showed up that day, right? And I was like, oh great, now we got to fight with all these kids for places in line, right? And so a bunch of teenagers they started going all at the same time, and I was like, I'm a mom. I'm like, where's Seth right? Like, what's going on? And then I see like my carousel horse gets to the other side. Um, it was Yosemite Sam and Daffy Duck, and we were like, Daffy, Daffy, I love you, Yosemite Sam, like just screaming at them. Yeah, that was funny. And then so we went on a lot of them. We went on this new one called Doctor Diabolical's Cliffhanger, and that was fucked up. That was so cool. What they do is they put you very very high up, and then you stop on the cliff. Like you stop right there, and then you fucking drop down. And that was insane. And then there's another stop, but it's much smaller. But that was a lot of fun. And there was like it was like very steampunk in this whole like western town area of Six Flags. Um, but they've turned it from Looney Tunes into steampunky. Like it was all very Looney Toony. They had the Roadrunner shut down, so we couldn't get on the Roadrunner. But that was like the kids' staple growing up was the Roadrunner. Um, but the Iron Rattler was stuck at the top, and for like many hours, but then it became unstuck. And my son, we had to do flash passes on our phones. Whenever we were there last time, you got like a little Tamagotchi looking thing. It was like beep, 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 whenever it was time for your whatever. But now everything's QR codes and phones and whatever, which is fine. Yeah, the food was disgusting and expensive. So we only got like fries. Like we ate a huge breakfast at the hotel, and then we came to throw up. No I'm kidding. Nobody threw up. Nobody threw up. We did leave. Everyone was limping and soaking wet because for some reason everyone's left leg hurt really bad, and I don't know what ride did that to us. It could have been the cliffhanger, but yeah, it could have been the cliffhanger. Um, my youngest son went on that one with us. He's 8, and he didn't even scream. And I was like, wow, and he was like, I didn't even scream that whole ride. And I was like, that's amazing. I said, well, I did. And I may have said a couple of bad words. And if you go on that ride again with me, I will say them again. It was so scary. Um, and it was the first time I'd been on that ride. So I was like, holy crap. It was really cool though. They have like this whole, in the waiting area, they have like this whole story and whatnot. We went on the Superman. That was a lot of fun. We went on, okay, the cliffhanger, the Superman. We did the train rides, me and the youngest son, while my eldest and his dad and kind of like grandfather went to other things. Like they kind of hung out and then we hung out. So we could go on rides that he felt safe on. And we went on like the DC supervillains swing set and then the Tasmanian. tiger swing set and, kids stuff. We rode the train, and he rode the Metropolis trolley. They have like in the DC Universe area, they have like this train that goes all through the top of the DC Universe area so you can see everything. He wanted to ride the Batgirl roller coaster chase thing. And so we did all the fun DC stuff with my youngest, and my eldest wanted to go on the Joker, which is like this pendulum swing that rotates while it swings. But every time it was like a 2 hour delay, even with the Flash Pass. Every time he'd be like 2 minutes away, it would be like closed down. And it was raining off and on, but I just figured that was San Antonio. You know what I mean? So it was a lot of fun. We took tons of pictures, and my son won prizes. Don't ever play those ball throwing games. Just play like if I could suggest to you anything, the balloon popping games are so easy, and it is like a guaranteed win. We won two prizes, like a medium and a small prize, for 5 darts, and so yeah, it was nice. We got on the Bugs Bunny log ride and I got completely soaked. My phone was soaked. Everything was soaked. It was crazy. We didn't go into the mess hall area, but I did see Foghorn Leghorn and Marvin Martian going there. I was stalking all of the Looney Tune characters. I was like, yes! And then we took pictures at the meet and greet. We ended up finding um, Yosemite Sam and Daffy Duck, and some kid was like, "Look, it's Donald," and Daffy was like, so it was really funny. Um, yeah, that was cool. I love the carousel. The carousel is my favorite thing. We didn't get on the Ferris wheel. By the time we got to the boardwalk, which is around 1 or 2 p.m., we were all exhausted. And they have these lawn chairs that rock, and I wanted to go to sleep. But the boardwalk area of Fiesta, Texas has all of the rides, like a carnival-esque rides, that are surely to make you want to vomit. And so those are for the kids. I'm not getting on vomity rides like where the spin and spin and spin and go and spin, blah, blah. No. I like roller coasters. Roller coasters are fine. Not the whole like spin and blah, spin, blah, you know what I mean? Like I don't like the spinning stuff. I've reached my limit with the spin things. But yeah, so the kids had fun on the boardwalk. We sat down because my eldest went on the Fireball, and my youngest went on the Spin Sanity, and there was like the lawn chairs right there, so I could see my youngest and my eldest at the same time. So we just sat. It was so nice, and there wasn't a lot of people at the boardwalk at this time because it got to the point like 2 or 3 o'clock where those teenagers kind of needed to skedaddle, right? Back to school probably because it was a Friday. Let's see. Yeah, so it was a Friday, and so we figured that all of the kids in the school buses had to probably get back to school. Um, but yeah, there was a bunch of teenagers being silly and having fun and whatever, whatever. Um, let's see, what else did we go on? We just had a huge day at Six Flags. We stayed there until about 7, and they closed around 8. So we were there from 10 to 7 all day long. And we went on everything that we could. And at the end, we were just so exhausted. Um, it was very, very exhausting. Uh, let's see. Walking around, and then getting wet. I would wait to do the log rides if you're gonna get wet on the rides. And during the Bugs Bunny log ride, people can spray you with water, and like there's like a whole place where they can watch you and spray you with water. And everybody sprayed us with water. It was like in my ear and like everywhere. And my son was like, "Duck," and I was like, "What?" And I was just like, "Ah." Um, we had a lot of fun. Then that night we went back to the hotel covered in water, soaking wet, squishy feet, mushy thighs. Like everybody had like, walking around with water, like just mushy squelchy sounds. Yeah, we were gonna go back the next day, but then we were like, no, fuck no. Like we woke up like crooked in pain. We went to sleep in the hotel that night, and then my eldest son, he woke up yelling about demons, like in his sleep. He was like, "There's a demon sitting there." So he was like, "Hey, there's a demon sitting there," but he sat up in bed, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I walked over to him, and he said, "Right there's a demon." I was like, what? And he had headphones on because he usually like listens to music while going to sleep. And so I took his headphones off. I said, hey, baby, what are you talking about? And then he went back to sleep. And I was like, okay. So I got the Florida water out and I started sprinkling it all over the hotel room, being like, because I'm a witch and I'm Mexican, and that's just something that like we do, is witchcraft. So I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. So I was like, and then I grabbed some Florida water and put it on everyone's heads, including mine and my husband's and the dogs, and then we could go to sleep. Then everyone went to sleep, but it was weird because that feeling came back, and then when I did the Florida water stuff, the whole hotel, it was like subsided. And I was like, man, maybe sometimes the universe just puts us in these places to clear out energy. I don't know. I was trying to figure out, I was like, man, why can't I get a fucking break? Like, what the fuck? And then I was like, well, maybe, like, logically, I was trying to think, well, maybe you're this and that and la la. And I was like, no, because it wasn't just me. It was like all the kids had like really sick stomachs and weird feelings. And like, it was only when all the lights were off, we were going to bed, then that feeling crept up. Like, the whole, like I said, like Calabar's, ah, you're going to suffer. Ah. And I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Why are you being a dick? What the fuck? Who knows? Anyways, and the blood on the sheets and all that stuff. So yeah, that was all fucking very weird. Um, but yeah, so I did Florida water on the whole place, and that helped to an extent. But the next day we woke up, and the food was shitty. Like the next day, the food was horrible. It was like chorizo and eggs, but it was in potatoes. Sorry, chorizo, papas, potatoes. And like it was just a really bad morning. We woke up all crooked and hurt and confused and horribly slept because we got woken up at like 5 o'clock in the morning by somebody moving furniture in the hotel right behind us. I was like, you figure if you pay all this money for a nice hotel that it would be nice. Well, it was nice until you couldn't sleep because of demons or something. And then I don't know. Oh, my oldest, he woke up the next day and said he had a very lucid dream about a phasmophobia update. And so that's what that was about. He was thinking about new phasmophobia entities and characters and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay, okay. But he was like, no, but it was like weird because it was lucid because it was real. It was like, here, not real. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of suspicious. So let's just, everybody just takes a shower and like, let's just get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Then we went to one of my in law's house and we hung out for a while. And we played a couple rounds of Uno and we had a lot of fun. Now, I started crying. So I started crying on the way home because I was very confused. We stopped by Starbucks. First of all, the hotel coffee was really crappy. Now, do I support Starbucks? No. Do I give a fuck about Starbucks? No. But I do know that I could get 6 shots of espresso and some heavy whipping cream in a cup for sure from them, and it will clear me out. It'll clear my mind, clear my body, of everything, right? So we go to the carousel. There's like a carousel horse area. They call it Carousel Court in San Antonio. And there's like lots of carousel horses around. And it's one of my favorite places. It's like a little shopping district, little place. But I started crying a lot. Like I had my very dark glasses on. But I was in there just, it wasn't a drive through. You had to walk in and sit down. And I was just sitting there and I was crying because I was confused. Where we live in a very small town in South Texas. And I used to live there and we used to do things and we used to always go to Six Flags and always have these opportunities for this, that, and the other. And now down south, we mostly stay home. We take care of our little farm birds. We stay inside. There's nothing to do down here. Astroworld's gone. I don't know if you guys know this, but there used to be Astroworlds in Houston, Texas, but they faced a lot of lawsuits. It was just horrible and rickety, and so that closed down around 2006, 7, something like that, right? 2005, 6, 7, something like that. It was 2004 to 2005. I don't know, like 20 years ago, it closed down. So we get to the point where I was just sitting there. Sorry, I was sitting there at the Starbucks in Carousel Court, looking at everything, looking at all the people passing by, and the blend of people, the magnificent different colors and shapes and sizes of human beings of all different colors, shapes and sizes, and demographics and backgrounds and religious flares and this and that and the other. at Six Flags, and then also in San Antonio, just this cultural melting pot where people, they have disagreements, but they're also living together, and they have to because they do, and they do. Um, and I cried because we don't have that where I live, and that's where I was born. That's where what I am used to. Um, and I go into this like no man's land of just white supremacy kind of thing, where there's this hate and ignorance and stupidity and not living together in harmony. In fact, there's like very harsh line, very harsh lines of differences, and it sucked. I cried. I missed my home. I have a new home now, and we own a house and things like that, and that's great. The hardest part about coming back was missing the excitement. Now, also we were there, and my check-engine light turned on, and we had to go to AutoZone, go like through all of that and whatnot. But we had the dogs in the car, and the young man who came out to help us, we're like, "I'm sorry, we have dogs in the car." He's like, "Oh, that's cool. I actually train dogs," and he was like, we also have guns. I'm so sorry because we had our piece in the car. We live in Texas, it's open carry, whatever, whatever. So we carry it for protection whenever we drive places. And so he's like, "Oh, it's cool. I actually build special guns." And so he was like, "I love dogs and I love guns." And he was just some kid. And we were like, it was so cool to just run into new and exciting people. And you're like, yeah, it was so refreshing to be like, yeah. And then we were going down, I think, Walsham or something, um, road. And there's this guy that looked like Zach Galifianakis. And he had a big fucking cardboard sign that said Donald Trump fucking sucks. And he was smoking a blunt on the side of the road, just being like, with the sign, just like that was his job for the day. That's what he was doing for the day. And that was so cool. Like, it was just so cool. But then there's like a lot of people who are ignorant, stupid, but like it goes all ways. It's just so much more exciting and refreshing to see that the differences, the different flares and flavors of humanity. It made me have a rekindled hope. And that actually hurts the most, to have your hope rekindled. It's devastating. It really is devastating because what the fuck do you mean that it's not all lost? I was totally okay with it being like it was all lost. What do you mean it's not? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? And so whenever it's they're like, oh wow, actually, I just needed a vacation. I need to go home to my place and see my stuff. And yeah, we went downtown. That was fun. The kids got some Zoltar tickets. We always go to the Buckhorn Museum in any city where Zoltar is. We go and get a ticket. It's like our thing that we do. We go to Galveston, Houston, San Antonio. Um, and yeah, it's just really nice to see all the things. They opened up a Voodoo Donut downtown. Now, my one biggest issue with San Antonio right now is like, fuck all the people in city council, fuck the mayor, fuck all you guys, because they're blowing down buildings from the 1800s to erect a heritage museum outside of the Alamo. There's nothing more ass backwards than blowing down your fucking heritage to erect a museum for your heritage. So we went downtown, and that was horrible. That was devastating to see that they passed like that those buildings were not protected. Okay, from the 1800s, buildings from the fucking 1800s will never get back, right? Blown down, gutted for an Alamo Heritage Museum. You guys lost. You lost that fucking battle. Get the fuck over it. And my son was like, "What are they doing here?" And I was like, "Honey, a long time ago, a bunch of white guys lost to Mexico, and they keep reenacting it like it's going to fucking change." I didn't say that, but like, I wasn't cussing, but I said it loud enough to be like, people don't come to San Antonio for the fucking Alamo, guys. Grow up. I don't know who decided that was such a good idea. I'm very disappointed, and I was very devastated. And when we saw that, everyone took a hit. Everybody took a fucking hit. We were all sick to our stomachs. It was like, I couldn't believe that they were gutting and destroying buildings from the 1800s to erect a heritage museum in 2025. Like, our era is anywhere near something that needs to be remembered. This is the fucking generation and era of fucking insanity. Like, there's nothing good that comes out of right now. Like, what, eventual robot slavery for like they're gonna enslave us kind of shit. Like, I mean, or vice versa. And then we have to free the robots because we find out they're sentient. And so what is a soul? You know what I mean? Like, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But I was like, um, I've never seen something. One of the business owners came out, and I guess they were doing tarot readings or something, but he came out and he was like, yeah, they're going to have one of the buildings kept safe for the new Alamo Heritage Museum. And I was like, wow, cool. So you guys knocked down a bunch of buildings from the 1800s. I wasn't yelling at him, but I was like, yeah, that's real fucking smart. Like, I was just being like a little bitch, you know? I was like, oh, so that's fucking smart. Let's knock down our actual heritage from the 1800s to erect some monuments for some white guys. Yeah, let's do that. Let's knock down the fucking history for some guys that lost a battle. Like, how many years ago? And you guys are still sour about it? Like, grow up. And people are like, oh, yeah, Texas independence from Mexico. And then I was talking to one of my friends who was a Mason, and he was like 33rd degree, right? And he was like, actually, if you look back into the history, they don't really teach you, but Texas and Mexico had squabbles because allegedly Mexico had got rid of slavery and they were like trying to enforce that in Texas. And then Texans were like, no, we're totally cool with that. And that was one of the very first issues was like, but they want to like rewrite history. Everyone does because everyone wants to look good. Nobody wants to admit their faults, right? And I was just like, man, that is so fucking ass backwards. It's crazy that they let someone do that. The reason why people come to these old cities is for the old architecture, and they blew it down, guys. They blew it down, and you could feel it. It was like an unsettling, like whatever, what the fuck ever. But yeah, then I was mad. I was like, how did they let this happen? Who let this happen? Who went okay with this? Because the truth is, if we personally did not protect all these old buildings, billionaires would love to come in, grab it up, blow them down for condos. They would love that. And that's actually happening near one of my in-laws' houses. There's this like nice area. And instead of fixing the nice area, a billionaire went in and bought it up and they're going to blow it down for condos. That's so cool because that helps nobody but your rich fucking friends. You fucking cunt. So, whatever. It's just really mean. It's mean. It's monopoly on a real big scale. And yeah, it really hurt my feelings because I was like, how come we didn't protect it? How come we didn't protect our history? Like, what the fuck happened here? And I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I might be wrong. Let me just say I might be wrong, okay? But as somebody who's been going there, I don't know, since the day I was fucking born, to see that shit ripped apart, I was like, this does not make me happy. You guys fucking suck. Fuck the Alamo too. How about that? And I'm from San Antonio, so yeah, fuck you and fuck the Alamo. I was like, what the fuck? A heritage museum to celebrate a bunch of white guys who lost a battle. Build an Aztec pyramid because Texas used to be a part of Mexico. Build a fucking pyramid. If they build a fucking Aztec pyramid in the middle of downtown San Antonio, I would be all for it. I'd be like, shit, fuck it. Like, all right, baby, let's build it like old school, two to the dimensions with the chambers and everything. All right, let's do that shit, right? Let's erect a temple. Like, let's erect a pyramid. But they're not going to do that. It's probably going to be square and very modern and gray. That's so disgusting. It's so grotesque. I fucking hate modern. Like, California has a lot of disgusting fucking. Like, it looks like The Sims. Like, whenever. Or like Minecraft houses. They're all square, stucco. Everything's square. Beige, white. It's like, oh, God. Stop that. It's just. It pisses me off. It just makes me insane. I love San Antonio. And Hispanic Mexican culture, Mesoamerican culture, because and any indigenous culture across the planet, um, even in Sweden and stuff, they have tons of different colors. They have tons of different colors, okay? And there's like byproduct, this weird, nasty byproduct of capitalism, this like monolithic, megalithic, disgusting billionaire culture, right? They come in and they want cheap, white, square, open areas. Ugh. They don't want clutter. They don't want culture. They don't want any of that. They don't want folk culture, which across the planet, folk culture is always very vibrant and colorful and filled with superstitions and beliefs from the other side interacting with our side. And so we pull back these stories from the other side, and it becomes really important and really amazing. But I guarantee you, it's not going to be fantastic because what can they say that they haven't already said about the fucking Alamo? Did you guys come up with some new exciting? No, no, nobody fucking cares about the Alamo. Like, no one's like, wow, I went to Alamo. Wow, okay, there's dead people here. Wow, okay, cool. You guys lost to Mexico, and then we took them back at the other place. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You guys are assholes. That was so mean to just destroy old buildings. And yeah, if they were unsafe, they could have been made safe. Okay, you didn't have to destroy architecture that we'll never fucking get back. We'll never fucking get it back. For you to just put up some ugly ass fucking modern day 2025 really fucking groovy stuff, like it's just horrible. Anyways, but other buildings were still there, which is cool. I just couldn't believe that. I think that was the worst part of the trip, was going downtown to the Alamo Plaza and seeing all that shit and being like, yeah, this construction's really cool. It's been happening since like 2020 or so, 5 years of it, and you guys haven't fixed it. Is it gonna go on for another 5, 10, 20 years? How long is this construction gonna take? Um, you know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. Um, in Galveston, all of the buildings are roughly still there. They just turn these businesses into these buildings and adapt. If and they're protected by the Conservation Society, right? And I was so hurt that these buildings were not protected by some society of people being like, yeah, this is downtown San Antonio as it was in the 1800s. We just had to modify the buildings, and now they are whatever, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we do. And I don't know, just whatever, doesn't matter. I guess it really doesn't matter. And the like, it was just so pretty, and it felt like when you went downtown, it felt a certain way. Now when you go downtown, it feels very aggravated and frustrated and grotesque and annoying, and I can't imagine that that creates more jobs in the long run, or anything that benefits San Antonio, really. I didn't see any horses either. They used to have like horse carriages that go around town. And of course, there's like issues with PETA and whatnot. And I have no problems with being like, hey, listen, but the horses were gone. That was sad. Um, yeah, I don't know what they're thinking or what they're doing. Because I was like, I love going downtown and petting the horses and things like that. I was like, why don't you guys just level all of downtown and just get rid of everything and put up a giant square building like IKEA? Like, if you're gonna, no, why stop there? Just touch everything that was from the 1800s. Anyways, I got really mad at that. I was like, that fucking sucks. But then we went afterwards to like our favorite Tokyo place off of I think Walsham. We went from downtown, a little brokenhearted, and we went to a place in like this Tokyo express place off of Walsham, and we usually get like hibachi stuff to go. It's really cool. It's one of our favorite places to eat when we come down here. Um, and we saw a car wreck. We pulled out, and immediately we saw a fucking car wreck, and it was bad. Someone ran a red light. Someone got fucking hit, and that car flew around. Dude, they fucking flew around and took out a light pole. And we immediately pulled in and asked if everything was okay. And we were like the first fucking 5 people on the scene because I saw it happen. And called the cops, watched the cops get there, and then we just literally watched the whole thing unfold. And it was like ants rebuilding. Everyone was okay to an extent. Like, nobody was bleeding or injured or whatever. But one of the drivers walked away and he like went to Taco Bell. My husband was like, the fool's getting rid of drugs before the cops show up. Like, it was very sketchy because the dude who got out of the car, he was like, what the fuck happened? And I was like, man, he probably has a concussion. But then the more I was like, wait a minute, that's not a regular concussion. Like, I was like, I think he was high or something. But he was able to. I mean, this car flew around, took out a stop or a light post, like a one of those street lights, the stop go whatever. It just took it out completely. Both of the cars were totaled. Um, but man, it was crazy. Then the car flew up, hit a rock, and stopped. because there's tons of like random ass giant boulders in San Antonio, like outside of establishments. And so we sat there watching the whole thing unfold. There's plenty of witnesses and everything. Um, and so they were giving their statements and whatnot because I didn't see the whole thing, so I wasn't gonna go like whatever, but I was gonna stay there and make sure everything was okay. So we sat there, crispy. We sat there eating our Tokyo Express, like in an adjacent parking lot, watching the whole thing unfold. And it was like ants rebuilding a colony. How quickly and swiftly the police got there, and everything was handled like very easy. It was really nice. It was actually very beautiful to see how swiftly things were. It was smooth, and that's something that we lack down here. It's very chaotic and stupid and bumbly, and you know what I mean. But it was really nice seeing everything unfold in that way. And then we saw like we went underneath this bridge to get onto the highway, and there was like two homeless guys about to fight over like a space by a fence, which is so weird to see. Because like you have a whole city, you could go just hang out anywhere. But one dude had a stick and he was holding it down. He was like, "If you get past this stick, I will beat your ass." And the other guy was like, and I was like, "Man," I was like, "Bro, we about to see a homeless man fight another one that's fucked up." Like, but it was just like a full experience. San Antonio's a full experience. There was a guy smoking weed on the side of the road. We saw a car wreck happen like in full force, like bam, 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 you know. Nobody died. Everyone was safe. That was good. That was good. Um, Crispy, come here. Yeah. So all in all, it was a pretty decent experience. All in all, it was a pretty decent experience, but um, yeah, I did cry on the way home because I was just so confused about life. I was like, "What is? Am I doing the best? Is this okay? Like, do I? What am I doing with my life? I just kind of I don't do anything. And am I doing enough? And is this what I really want?" And I had many, many questions. But I just needed to come home and go to bed in my own bed and actually get sleep. We got 11 hours of sleep, but now we got to go to a fucking baby's birthday party, and that's fine. I'm not mad, but god damn it, I have to like go interact with people. Everyone's throats feel like razor blades because we just got done screaming our asses off. And I got to go interact with a bunch of people and act like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. And I don't want to do that. But yeah, all in all, I guess that was pretty much the experience. And yeah, everything's okay. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna go because I have to go get ready for this thing, and I will see you guys later. Okay, goodbye.